So, here goes the UFO story. The old lady and I have the house up for sale. Um, Her mom's coming into town. So, we had viewings, showings booked or whatever throughout the weekend. So, she was coming in on Wednesday night. And we didn't want to keep fucking up the house and cleaning it every time there was a showing, so we booked a trailer 10 minutes up the road that's Birch Creek waterfront, has a dock on Lake Fork in Yanis, which is the lake we fish all the time, especially at night. Super familiar with it. Um, yeah, it's not like this is like our first time camping or some shit like that. So we'll just go to the moment that we're on the dock. The first night we had the boat out on the dock, and we were just kind of hanging out, fishing or whatever. So the ramp at this place that we're staying at, they had its own little private ramp, private dock, and then it was like a B&B, so they had 3 different trailers on this like 5-acre section, that each trailer was rented out or whatever to a different group of people. And we didn't know that at the first. We thought we were gonna have like our own private dock and private boat ramp. But anyways, so yeah, and the ramp was shitty, and there's a bunch of vegetation in there. It was just real trashy in the back of the cove, so I got a bunch of muck and shit on the boat, and it was just a pain in the ass to launch there because it was windy and there was trees scratching up the candy paint. I mean, it was just, I was like, no, fuck this. So I put the boat back on the trailer, and the next night I was like, well, we'll just fish, we'll just night fish off the dock. And we'll just night fish off the dock, and then I'll take this Milwaukee spotlight that I have. It's a battery. It's like, I don't know, 500 lumens, super bright. It's a hexagon shape with a bunch of different types of LEDs and shit in it. It's a badass light. And so I put that in the water, and I let that marinate and shit. So the bait fish will come up, and the bugs, and the bigger fish eat the small fish. Just let it kind of sit on the water. So we're out there hanging out and fishing. It's me, the old lady, our baby Stormy, sweetest baby in the world, 90% of the time, and Becky, which is Kat's mom, who came in from Mississippi to visit, and Kat's sister, Ashley. So we're all sitting out there hanging out. Stormy, she's not having it. She's had a long day already. It's 100 degrees outside, 110 degrees, it feels like, with no wind. Um, it's on the 18th, Friday, and half moon, clear, no wind, back of Birch Creek, Lake Fork. Uh, so we're sitting there, and Stormy's she's tired. It's like 10 o'clock. 10:30. She's ready to go into the trailer, which is we're of course closest all the way up by the road. So it's a few minute walk. So we go up there, and the old lady and her sister Ashley, they are, they walking with me. We're taking Storm up there, and then I'm gonna come back and get Becky because she loves the fish and she's just hanging out there. And I was like, I'll just be right back, and we'll just continue fishing or whatever till we get tired. And so I take them back to the trailer, and we're sitting there, and she sends Ashley, her youngest daughter, text message is like, I've got a visitor, meaning that another boat kind of pulled up around that dock. I guess they were trying to fish that light. So she said that they had their running lights on. She heard the boat crank. They pull up, idle up to that, just the outskirts, and then they kill their lights. It's what, everyone does. They're just kind of waiting to see if they hear voices on the dock or see people, fishing, or if we're gonna go in. They didn't realize that this was a light that, we just busted out that's running off a battery, I'm assuming. So she's feeling uneasy about this boat pulling up and being on the outskirts with the lights killed and shit. So I go down there, and I don't know. I'm taking this way further than it needs to go, but anyways, there's a power line going through Birch, a big power line, and we're just sitting there, and she had already had an uneasy feeling, and so I walk up out on the dock, thinking that we're gonna fish a couple more hours, and I just get this super uneasy feeling, like I don't know, it was just weird, and so I looked over at Becky, and I was like, so they think we're packing up and heading in? And this is right after we just said that we were going to maybe fish all night, like till in the morning. I mean, this was 5 minutes after that. I was like, so do they think we're packing up? She's like, yeah. And before I know it, I mean, she's got the chairs, the rods, and everything. She's, within a minute, wanting to walk up. I drove her car down this time and parked it right there at the ramp, which is 20 yards from the end of this dock. And yeah, so now we're walking to her car. We got the rods, we got the chairs. It's going to take a couple of trips. I'm going to come back and get the light and the cast net, because we had a cast net out there. We were catfishing. So that was all that was left. So I take her to the car. She's like, okay, well, you're going to have to back the car out here because this ramp is crazy and I'm not trying to run in the bushes. I'm like, that's fine. I'll be right back. So I go and get this Milwaukee light, and it's in the water or whatever, shining down. So I lift it straight up, and then it's got this hexagon, and I fold it down, and I'm trying to turn it off. The power button's got different modes or whatever, where it's like high power, low power, strobing, whatever. So I finally get this thing off and fold it down, and and then I walk down the dock 20 steps, and I get the cast net, and I'm folding it up, and I'm wrapping it up like neatly, which I don't ever do that kind of shit. So that was weird. And then she turns the car on with her headlights, and they're like blinding me, and I'm like, damn. And we just killed a copperhead and seen a water moccasin. So I was like, damn, she's rushing me. That's the feeling I was getting. So, anyways, I just continue to take my time. This light's still on and it's facing up. I'll show it to you in a minute. And so I get all this shit. I get the net folded up, and I'm walking back to her car. I can't see shit because she's blinding me with her lights, and I'm hoping I don't step on a snake or whatever. And so we throw it in the car. We didn't put the rods because we're her SUV, so we didn't put the rods in there. We just put the chairs and the light. And I was gonna walk back down and get the rods and the cast net and the bucket that had some shad and shit in it. I was like, I'm not gonna put this in your BMW brand new SUV. It's gonna smell like shit. Crankbaits are gonna be tearing your leather up and all that. So, anyways, I was like, I'll just leave them. I'll just walk down here, and I'll just walk those back. My truck was pulled up to my boat at the trailer, which is up at the beginning of the lot or whatever. So we pull up there. We pull her car in. We open her trunk lid or whatever on the back of her car. She grabs both the chairs. I grab the light. We walk 10 steps to my truck. I open my tailgate. She puts a chair in. I'm going to put a light in or whatever, and we start hearing this fan boat like helicopter sound. It's like a woof 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 woof. It is crazy sound. And she was like, "What is that?" So we turn towards the ramp, which you can't see the ramp up from the trailer, but you see the clearing where it's cut out, where boats and shit can back in there. But I mean, there's a lot of cover or whatever. The highline wires are over here running through the creek, and to the left, there's one of those other trailer rentals, and down closer to the water, there's another one of the trailers, the one that we wish we would have got. But, of course, we got the shitty one up by the road. So we start hearing this woof, 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 and she's like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And we turn around, I'm still holding this light. It's off now, and she's holding one of the chairs. She put one in the bed of the truck. And I'm like, it's got to be generators on a gar boat or maybe a fan boat coming through. We're like, "What is it?" And she's like, "It sounds like a plane." And then it's getting closer, and it's loud. I mean, it's loud, and I'm like, "That's got to be a helicopter." And so I'm looking at the tree line, expecting to see, I'm kind of looking towards the ramp, towards the tree line. I'm waiting to see if this is going to be some crazy ass boat with lights and generators, fans, whatever, or is it going to be a helicopter that comes out of the tree line? And yeah, and then so that's about 10 seconds it's making that sound. And then the next thing I know is like right here to the side, right in this clearing across the street from this cattle ranch, which is pipe fence, 4-row sucker rod. It's got a bunch of longhorns in there, super nice ranch off 1785 in Yanis. Dead ends in Birch Creek. It's a badass ranch across the street. I mean, they got a lot of money in beef and shit sitting around in the yard. Pipe fence, only way in's electric gate. So yeah, we in this clearing, we see a UFO straight up, and we see it for 3 seconds, and it's an infinity symbol, and the LEDs in the infinity itself are running so fast and so crisp, bluish green. It's just unbelievably, I mean, just crazy advanced infinity symbol with, a row of bright white lights on the bottom, white lights on the top. I mean, we get 3 seconds, I'm guessing 3 seconds at this. Look, I mean, we're just glued to it. I mean, there's no way. This thing is hovering. I end up measuring it 85 yards at the treetops, right at that cattle ranch across the street. I mean, it's hovering right there, like right there. And we guess to be 50, 60 feet, 3 boat lengths is what I was going off of based on the way that the trees and the silhouettes of the trees, everything laid out. I mean, it fit in there 60 feet. And the blue and green lights on this thing were like, dude, there's no shit that you're going to see like this in a movie, or you're not going to run into anything like this man-made. I mean, this thing is like a machine, and the lighting on it is unbelievable. So anyways, there's that 3 second like trance, like just unbelievable. And then it just, there was such that loud introduction coming in that took like 7-10 seconds of is it a fan boat, is it a helicopter? I mean, we had so much time, and it was coming from where the light that I was going crazy with on the dock, which is 100 yards from this main highline wire that goes through the back of Birch Creek, which there's one or two houses. You know, we're at the very back at the end, so there's one or two houses, 3, 4 houses on the water, whatever. And this boat that had killed their lights that I never even saw, forgot that that kind of even existed in the moment we were packing everything up. So, anyways, that's where the sound came from, and it came, you know, up that boat ramp that we had just backed up, turn around to get to, you know, come pull up to the trailer where the old lady and the baby and Ashley are at. So Ashley's already asleep, and it had been like 30 minutes. Storm's asleep, Ashley's asleep. Kat says she's sitting there. She's, you know, just on her phone or whatever, sitting on this couch. So, that thing's hovering 2 or 3 seconds right there over, you know, in between us and where I know that these bulls are all sitting on this fence line. I don't know why they're there, but I heard them there whenever I was up there earlier on. So I know they're all sitting around up there. I turned to her after we see this, and she goes, "We just saw a UFO," and I don't even remember if I said anything. I'm just like, my chest is like just pounding, dude, and my neck hair. I mean, I'm just like, you know, I knew we saw you. I knew it was UFO, 100%. Not a fucking helicopter, not a fucking airplane, not a drone. I mean, we both knew exactly what the fuck we just saw. I mean, it was a fucking UFO right there, 85 yards, hovering over this ranch, right across the fucking street. And that long ass introduction of it coming sounding like a helicopter in, there was none of that leaving. This motherfucker just poofed, dude. I mean, we didn't even see it leave, because if we would have followed the sound. I mean, there was no sound, nothing. It just fucking was gone. And so she's like, "We just saw a UFO." I don't remember if I said anything, but I'm behind her. I still holding the light. One of the chairs she got in bed of the truck, the other one she's holding in her hand, and I'm just pushing her towards the trailer, back around her car to get in the trailer. And so I come in the, you know, she's like, "Well, I need to put this, you know, put this chair." She's like in some weird mind, like weird thinking. Like she's like, "Well, let's put the chair back there." I was like, "No, get in the fucking trailer." So we're coming up the stairs, and here's Kat, and she's like, you know, I come in, she says, "I've got, you know, tears in my eyes. Like my eyes were watering," and her mom was just in like just a crazy, like a just still kind of zoned out. She goes and sits down. I'm super thirsty, so I ended up opening 2 Cokes, one after another. I don't know if I took a sip out of either of them. And then I also opened up, I only know this because the next morning I was like, "What the fuck?" One of them I just like cracked. One of them was open one sip, and then there was a spicy hot beer that was on the counter. It was one of those spicy fucking ranch waters, spicy, hot, 110 degrees. All this shit was open, so I was fucking just dehydratedly scared. I don't know. And then so we tell them what just happened, and now Ashley's obviously awake, and Kat says that the trailer walls. She heard the sound, and she said, she was like, "What is that? What is that?" Ashley was still asleep or whatever, and the in this little trailer, the fucking everything was rattling, and it was super loud. And she said that she had opened the trailer door, within that 10 seconds of that intro of this thing coming up. She had opened the trailer door and was yelling because she had heard us pull the car up. She knew we were there. The sound hadn't started until we were opening my tailgate and putting which we never got in there, one share. So she said she opened it and she saw a light and she saw our what looked like our feet down there, and then she instantly closed the door again. And then she was like, what the fuck am I doing? And now she turns around, Ashley's up now because the sound had definitely gotten her up. And then she opened the door again, and that's when I'm pushing her mom Becky through the door, and then we explained that we had 100% for sure, without a doubt, just saw a UFO. I mean, there was no question. So there was a lot of crying going on, a lot of emotion and shit. I mean, uh, it was just crazy. So nobody really got much sleep at all that night because, I mean, we were just steadily looking on the internet, trying to find someone who hashtagged Birch Creek UFO, loud noise. We're looking in on the community Facebook pages through surrounding counties. Like, we're trying to figure out someone has to help us fucking tell people, that we just saw they saw a UFO too. Which we didn't have any luck, and it was just crazy. So the next morning, I'm like, I've got to talk to these two other trailers because they saw it for sure. I know they had to because the sound was so fucking loud. They had to walk out their door and look and see what it was, and they had 10 seconds to do that, and they're in a trailer. So, um, so that morning I see the guy who's got a son and a daughter and a wife. They were the ones that were staying right next to the water where the sound came from, by the highline wire, the one that we'd probably been keeping them up before that sound by driving the car down there, picking up the shit, walking back and forth, whatever. So I see him and his old lady and his kids, and they're walking. And I said, I didn't want to come off like a complete nut job at this point. And I said, did y'all have that helicopter drone? I don't know why I said drone, but that's what I said, rattling the walls of your trailer. And I look at this dude, and I mean his eyes, and in my mind, I'm thinking this dude fucking saw it. And he goes, I heard it, man, but I heard the noise, super loud. Our trailer was rattling, whatever. And he's like, I checked on, the wife and the kids, and I didn't see it. And I'm like, dude, we straight up made a fucking UFO report already. I've already messaged Wood County. We've already called Wood County Sheriff's Office. I mean, we're like, we know what we saw. Oh, you saw it? And I'm like, well, fuck yeah, I saw it, dude. I mean, I'm not, yes, 100%. Yeah, it was a UFO. And he's like, oh, yeah, well, we're from Flower Mound and we live next to an airport or whatever. And we hear stuff like that all the time. And he's like, but that not like what that was. And I was like, yeah, no. And that's not normal for this lake because I've been fishing it since for 25 years. I mean, dude, I was in fucking diapers and a life jacket and a fucking 90 model Skeeter fishing this lake. Like, that's not normal for this lake. It's not normal for Flower Mound. By the way, this encounter was at 11:15. That was exactly because by the time we got back in the trailer, it was 11:20. And, I wrote all that down because, I'm hoping to correlate that with others that saw it so we can have a fucking Netflix documentary, dude. I figured if I'm gonna live with this baggage of UFOs fucking zapping me out of my deer stand for the rest of my life, the least I can get is a fucking Netflix documentary. So he claims that he did not see it, that he heard the sounds rattling the walls of his trailer. So his credibility is already in my eyes. I understand you don't want to come off like a nut job by saying that you fucking saw a UFO, but if you saw if you saw a fucking UFO, bro, I mean, like, you saw a UFO. And I told the old lady, I told Kat, I said, in his eyes, I said, he saw it. I was like, he saw it. But, you know, I was just thankful that I had Becky, who I know saw what I saw, because we saw the same shit with me. Otherwise, mentally, I would have been even more fucked, because I would have started like trying to convince myself that I was like having that I had some kind of weird dream, and that, like, it didn't really happen or something. You know what I'm saying? And if so, for this guy, if he did see it and his wife and his kids were asleep, it was this late. I mean, if I was him, I would want other people to, let me know that I don't need to check myself into a fucking mental hospital the next day. Like, or, you know, whatever goes on like that. Becky and I saw the same thing. I mean, without a doubt. So, anyways, I'm like, dude, what the fuck, man? You didn't see it. Okay, so now we're gonna go into town, and so we're going to town because we need to get some shit from Dollar General or whatever, and yeah, we just had shit to get. So we're pulling out of the gate of this place we're at, and when you pull out the gate, right there across the street, here's all these longhorns right underneath the 85 yards away where I said that, we saw it hovering. That's that cattle ranch, whatever. And at this point, we're all going back and forth, like, why did we get that close to an encounter? What the fuck was going on? Like, what, like, why? This wasn't some 6 mile away cell phone footage of some shaky fucking drone that we would have had. I mean, this thing was on the tree line, 85 yards, 30 feet up, right in our fucking face. It rattled that whole neighborhood. So I see these longhorns across the street, and this is before that I started thinking about the Milwaukee light, and maybe, if that could add something to do with it, or the Highline wires could add something to do with it. I was like, well, maybe they were just like waiting on us to go in the trailer, so they could maybe get one of these, try to pick off one of these bulls or cows or any livestock over there. And I'm just trying to figure out why me, like, why did this happen to me? Like, it's fucking crazy. And so, like, 2 hours later, we're back at the trailer, and the whole way to Dollar General, I got the AM radio on. I'm going through the news channels. I'm like, come on, bro! Someone tell me where to meet them so we can put our stories together, get this fucking Netflix documentary, let everybody know, what's going on. So we're back at the trailer now. This is a couple hours later, and I look over, Kat. she's like got tears in her eyes. She's on her phone. I'm like, what? Like, what? Like, what? And she says, uh, she says Rains County Sheriff's Office just made a Facebook post that there's a bull missing. And I'm like, so what? I mean, like, that's a weekly fucking occurrence. It ends up, down the street in the neighbor's yard. Like, it really, it happens all the time. Or, if the Yodis or something were to get in it, get in and it was a calf, whatever, I mean, there's going to be evidence of that. I mean, and I was like, so what? What? And she's like, it was on this street. And, I look at the picture and this is a motherfucking full blown bull. And, like, it still hasn't turned up. This happened on Friday night, the 18th, 11:15. It's, the 21st. There's actually, Rains County has posted, there's been another community page that's posted a cow, another one, like it happens all the time. And the ranch went and got it, picked it up, brought his shit back, like, that's what happens. So anyways, now I'm like, what the fuck, dude? I don't even know where to go with this story from here. I mean, my mind's all over the place. But that bull's still missing. I know what the fuck I saw. The trailer rattled. So we finally find another post on Heather Rowland's community news page. It's we live in Emory, so it's like 1,500 people. I mean, that's where everybody, if they need, looking for a painter, looking for someone to cut my yard, that's where everybody goes, and then everybody, comments, and you get your shit handled there. And there was a post, and it was like, did anybody hear a loud like jet-like noise at 11:20 last night? And there's all these comments coming in, and it's, of course, you got the motherfuckers who are like, oh, it's probably a helicopter, probably this, might have been that, might have been this. Dude, we're not asking what it could have been, what it might have been, what your theory of what it is like this person, if they saw what I saw, they're wanting, to not come out looking like a fucking nut job. By the way, I had already done that on Facebook. I already came out, pulled the trigger on that because I'm desperately looking for the rest of the people who saw this. Because, I mean, fuck. I mean, dude, this is not shit that happens every day. And so, I mean, yeah, there's all these comments of the, might be, could be, probably, the E system. I mean, some shit that, I mean, now I'm getting frustrated because I'm like, wasn't that? Was not a helicopter. Not like as bad as you wanted a helicopter to be chopping through at the tree line of Birch Creek Lake Fork at 11:15 at night. Just fucking chopping through at a dangerous level right next to highline wires in the stumpiest fucking lake in Texas through I mean it wasn't, because I saw what it was. I saw what it was. I heard what it was. I heard it coming in. I fucking saw this crispy craft. The nothing that our type of people can put together. I mean, this shit is on a level that's it's not even on any kind of fucking level that is just too perfect. I mean, it was just perfect. The lights, the way that it just was just fucking sitting there, rattling in your chest. Just, I mean, unbelievable. Just unbelievable, dude. So finally, there's another lady that's in Emory. I heard it. I'm on 1785, which is the same street that we were on. She heard it. but didn't see it, didn't see it, didn't see it. So this thing was rattling your walls in your house, shaking pictures off the wall and shit, but you didn't look out the window. I don't know. That's the first thing Kat did in the trailer. She came to open the door. So, I mean, that's just kind of what goes on. If there's a sound going on outside the first place I'm going to check is out the fucking window, out the door, you know, if I'm in my boxers, butt naked. I mean, if it's something that's rattling the house, like you know, we're gonna check that out for sure. So finally I get down to, there's a guy, Brandon, I think his name is. I've already like tried to get a hold of him a couple different times, private message, comment through there. He's like, so yeah, my daughters were in Point, which is 10 miles up the road, which is, if you keep following that High Line wire, that direction, you know, scooping the cow, which I'm not going to say they scooped the cow, but if you follow the Highland mark, because I have no evidence of that, I didn't see the cow get sucked up and the bull get fucking zapped up. I did not see this. I just like had a weird feeling in the morning, and then turns out 2 hours later, there really was one that fucking went missing. And I still don't have any evidence to say that that's what happened. That could be a weird coincidence. I just know what I saw 100%, and what Becky saw 100%, and what Kat and Ashley heard, and what everyone else heard, and that was the UFO for sure. But anyways, keep going up those Highline wires. You get to Point, which is like 10 miles away towards Sulphur Springs, and this guy comments. He said, "Yes, my daughters heard that sound, and they saw two green rings. And they said it was strange looking." And I'm like, oh my gosh, thank God, dude. Now maybe that there's, his comment and my post, because I've been blowing up. I'm just liking all the comments on it just to keep it at the top of the feed on this page, to keep it in people's eyes, so somebody can see that it's okay to tell the truth on what you saw. Like, it's okay, bud. Like, don't live with that shit, dude. It wasn't probably a helicopter, man. Like, it was not. If you saw it, if you saw it, if you heard it, in my mind, I'm thinking you saw it. And whether you didn't want to see it or whatever your deal is going on, or you don't want to, go to work on Monday and everybody thinks that you fucking lost your mind. I was beyond that point. I'd already full blown. Now I'd already been sharing the Rains County missing bull post. So, anyways, this is a long video, but it's been like a weird last couple days. And before all this, I didn't even believe in UFOs. It's kind of like Bigfoot, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I'll hear your story or whatever about your uncle fucking running into Bigfoot and seeing UFO in the forest. But like, I didn't believe it because I'm one of those kind of people that like, the shit's got to happen to me in order, to me directly, in order for me to, say, yeah, that's legit. Like, I'm not going to come out and be on some kind of might have been or could have been. That shit drives me crazy. That's where I'm at today. But, I'd already been off that deep end. So, this is a super long video, but I guess maybe if everybody else starts coming together and they can all, say what they saw, which, their credibility is kind of shot if it was a helicopter yesterday and tomorrow it's a fucking UFO. But, by the way, that neighbor that morning, I looked at him, he's like, "No, didn't see it, da da da." And I'm like, "Oh, okay," I go, "Well, I'll see you in 10 years on a Netflix documentary." And him and his kid just kind of laughed and walked away. And I mean, it's like, dude, we can't put you on the show now, bro. I mean, come on, dude. You seen it. I know you saw it. I know you saw it. By the way, the people in the other trailer who I know their shit was rattling, they were not speaking English all throughout the 2 days prior. Not that they didn't speak English, but they weren't when they were kind of like out and around the community area around us. And they probably did speak English, but I mean, I guess I was putting it off until Sunday, whenever we all had to pack up and be out by 11. You know, I figured I'll catch them in the morning or whatever. It was just an eventful weekend. I never, got to go try to see if they saw it, but they're another one, and there's several others throughout, like Fort Birch Creek, anywhere in between. I even saw one that in Tawakoni that said their windows were rattling. That was could have been like a whole nother deal. Or it could have been one of the same if our boys in the UFO veered off a little bit on the way to Point, that definitely could have hit Tawakoni. But the two green rings that were in Point that that dude's daughter saw, that's 100%. They heard the noise. They saw the two green rings. That's what the fuck we saw. They saw exactly what we saw, and it was an infinity, and it was blue and green, and it was in rotation. I mean, it was like figure eight. You know, it was in steadily fast, crispy rotation, and it was blue and green, and it was moving so smooth and clean, like nothing like some LED shit that you see on old Timothy's souped up car and stuff. Like, no, like this was unbelievable. And the white lights, which I'm assuming, now that I'm already crazy and I'm this deep into all this bullshit, I'm assuming those are their like search spotlights on their craft. Like they hit those, when they're off of their highline wire they're running, or whatever path, however they run. Anytime they veer off of their the their fucking path. Just kind of like if you're in a boat and you're running in the boat lane in the middle of the night, you're good. You're running your lane. But if you pull out of the fucking boat lane and you get in some timber, boom, spotlight comes on. Like, you're not going to try to hit a stump. So I'm assuming that that's what those white lights were, because whenever it was that I call it an idle, from the ramp, that 7 to 10 seconds of loud whoosh, 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 rattle in your chest, rattle in the walls when that was going down. I was looking for a helicopter or a fan boat, like I was like fucking looking, dude, and there was no lights. It was just the next thing I remember. So that, I mean, they could have been running with no lights at all, and then when they got to this area off this Highline wire, which is now, I would guess, like 300 yards off this main power line. Now they're gonna need some fucking lights. They gotta see something familiar, and I'm thinking that, not thinking that I'm just like this is a rare deal. But like I told the old lady, I was like, you take 100 people, you can pick 10 from here, there, New York, California, Florida, to pick 100 people. All right, and then out of that 100, how many of them are asleep at 11:15, which is normal, out to eat in a bar on Friday night, getting drunk, or playing video games, or um, in the city. Okay, so how many out of that 100 are in the back of the swampiest, biggest alligator, East Texas, middle of nowhere creek with spotlights running off of a main power line? Like, so whenever you like start trying to, because this is just the way my brain is. I mean, it's just this fucking way. Whenever you start trying to weed it down to, is this really that? Um, am I really that lucky? Like, what are the odds that it's happened to me? I've spent every weekend for the past 20 years. I mean, I'm talking about you, and family will tell you straight up, like before my daughter was born, she's gonna be 2 days. But up until that, like I didn't really do like I mean, I fished Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's, my birthday, your birthday, mom's birthday, this weekend, that weekend, so and so's wedding. I wasn't there. I was fucking fishing, like I was on the water. Um, so I mean, when you start reading this shit out at the odds, like am I just that lucky? If you want to call it lucky, because now look at what the fuck I'm doing. Like I needed this shit. Um, it's really not that. I guess. I mean, if anybody's gonna come across that experience, it's probably gonna be, you know, 5 out of the 100 that maybe do some kind of crazy outdoor shit. In the back of a creek with fucking 15-foot alligators in the middle of the night, killing copperhead snakes with fucking spotlights, sleeping in a shitbag trailer. Um, it was a decent trailer. It was a very nice place to stay, and I probably will stay there in the future because now I'm gonna be looking for a video because everybody wants to see a picture or a video, and there's just when that motherfucker is right up in your face like that. I mean, I can see, yeah, I probably could have got a video if it was, my neighbor's drone hovering down the street at 500 yards with with a shaky camera and it was sitting there for 15 minutes. Yeah, I could have got a fucking video for sure. But when this motherfucker came in, you just heard it and you were looking for it. And when it was there, you weren't doing nothing. You weren't talking. I mean, you were looking at it. It was um, unbelievable. And like I said, when it left, it just fucking poofed. Because if we would have got that 7 to 10 second idle out of there um, with the sound, I mean, there was no sound, no lights, nothing. I mean, the motherfucker is just, I don't know if it went where it's, but it was just absolutely not there. If I would have got that 10 seconds, yeah, probably, I don't know, maybe I could have dug my phone out, unlocked the motherfucker, and then got the camera, and then fucking, got the video because I wasn't going to be able to take a picture through these 30-foot pine and oak trees that I'm covered in, and it was sitting right above the tree line. Still probably wouldn't have got a video. But yeah, I'm gonna be staying in that nice trailer probably a few more times because I mean, I'm just gonna straight up have to set this light out there, and when I hear that sound, turn a camera on or keep a camera on and stay in the trailer or drop a light off out this light off out there and leave a camera on it and fucking get out of there because um, I don't necessarily want to get that close to it again, especially if the bull doesn't show up. I understand we come in peace, ET or whatever, still a creepy looking dude. I don't know about UFOs. I'm not gonna say it. Or I know about UFOs. I mean aliens. Uh, I don't know what the fuck they look like or what they're doing, or if they took that bull. Or I just don't need to be ever again that people are like, oh, you're lucky, you know, probably the couple, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, that believe me, not think I'm nuts, they're probably like, or they're saying, yeah, you're lucky. Yeah, that's what it is, because I needed this side hobby now that's gonna fucking. I've already joined MUFON. I'm like a fucking member. I'm like live tracking UFO. I can't even walk outside in the dark right now. Like the following night before we left, I was like, dude, I'm not gonna let this fucker eat me up. So at 11:15 the next night, I walked back out on the dock. I didn't take the light with me. I wasn't pushing it, but I did the same walk I did because I was so scared the night that it happened. I wouldn't even look out the window of the fucking trailer, you know. And they, Kat and Ashley and all them, they're crying, and you know they're hearing sounds, and you know they think everything's that. And that night I was like, I need to go outside. If you're hearing a fucking sound, I need to go outside. I need to clear my mind. I need to clear y'all's mind. You know, I'm not gonna be trapped in here. If whatever it is gonna get me here and take me, I want it to be now. Like, let's go ahead and get this motherfucker done. I'm not gonna be the person who hides in the closet for 20 minutes and, you know, waits to get slaughtered. But Becky, she said, I don't have a good feeling. She said, please don't go out there, blah, blah, blah. And it didn't take much convincing. I was like, okay, fuck, I'll stay in. But the next night, yes, I did. I had to go out there because I knew that we were checking out of that to drive 10 minutes of throw back to home. But I knew that that was my last opportunity. So at the very same time, I rewalked the dock and my neck hair was standing up. You know, this shit was rubbing, chest fucking pounding. Um, Even though I know now, it seems that you hear it coming in. It's like, so anyways, I had to make this fucking video for those that, you know, I don't want to tell them. We're at 52 goddamn minutes right now. And, I'm sure there's another 52 here and there that I could get even deeper in my thoughts and, of what and why and where and, you know. But, maybe there'll be a part two. But for the end of this part one, you gotta see this fucking light. Alright, so here this bad boy is. Nothing too crazy right here. Here's a little LED hexagon layout of this boy. Um, and so it's super tall. And obviously when you're putting it up, you know, going straight up, so I'm not saying that the UFO is coming to hang out with me. I'm just that lucky, or were they coming to this light, or if the bull never shows up, or if that has anything to do with it, or they just were coming for the light and they decided to take the bull because they're like, fuck, we already came down here, might as well get a little snack. I don't know, but you know, I'm gonna have my theory. I think they run the Highline wires. I think they saw this fucking light, uh, and that's where the sound started, the idol started. I'm thinking they were coming for that. They were, you know, maybe thinking it was one of their boys or something. You know, I mean, I don't know. And then the light I'd already obviously had off. After I flash it 47 times to go through the settings, and you know, I snap this bad boy down, and I'm just carrying it like this. And I was Milwaukee, you may owe me some money. So I'm just carrying it, and I ended up holding this. It never made it in the bed of my truck, along with that chair. That we held those while we were looking at this fucking thing. And I think them boys may have been coming for this. The sound started where this was turned off at. Um, and then her BMW headlights went up to the trailer. So maybe they just kind of idled up through that windy boat ramp on 1785, that little cut or whatever. And they couldn't find the light. So they're like, well, fuck, dude, here's a little beef. So they may have scooped that boy. But yeah, running the Highline wires. Looking for the Milwaukee. Alright, well, thanks for listening. And if you happen to have actually seen this thing when you heard your walls rattling, I'm with you.